welcome to Have I Got News For You? I am Professor Hannah Fry. In the news this week, as the Lib Dems step up campaigning, there's embarrassment as the props for one of their publicity stunts gets mixed up with the delivery of laptops for needy children.
3, 2, 1...
In Windsor, one man is delighted with the new ashtray he's buying his wife for Christmas.
Very good.
And in Leicestershire, one family successfully trains their pet to tell them when a yoghurt is past its sell-by date. On Ian's team tonight, we have a journalist and broadcaster who recently interviewed heavy metal fans while they were getting tattoos at a music festival. So, presumably, this isn't the first time she's met Ian. Please welcome Zing. And on Paul's team tonight, we have an actor and broadcaster who next year will be hosting a game show called Password. Of course, there'll be regular guests, but each episode will also feature at least one special character, plus one number and a capital letter. Please welcome Stephen Mangan. OK, we begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Zing, you have a little look at this.
Oh, Rishi's running.
From Suella.
He's heard the call from celebrity SAS and he's there.
That's no one in this budget. And that's the life support system. Yep, it's off. This is the autumn statement. And the Chancellor, he makes an autumn statement, and this autumn he'd said, please vote for us.
Yeah.
This government said it would not consider tax cuts, we can't afford it, until they saw the opinion polls, and they thought, yeah, all right. The maths is very complicated here.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Because they say we've had tax cuts, and the Office for Budget Responsibility says, no, the tax is almost the highest ever.
There was a lot of talk beforehand between Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt about how now is the right time for tax cuts. How do we know that that must be correct?
Because they want to get elected.
Because only a few weeks ago, according to The Times, both Hunt and Sunak made it clear that now is not the time for tax cuts. Also, in the Mail on Sunday at the end of October, a Whitehall source said, based on the current forecast, we can do fuck all. How come there is suddenly a lot more money for fiscal stimulus, though?
It's all the money they've saved from not deporting people to Rwanda now that they can't do it.
What's interesting about this budget is it's got a lot of detailed plans in it, which, given that they're going to lose the election, just don't matter.
They might as well just promise anything. Just everyone gets a free puppy.
OK, who wasn't impressed by all of this?
Was it Labour's Rachel Reeves?
It absolutely was Rachel Reeves.
She was so unimpressed, she said, we're not going to change any of this. That's radical Labour for you. The very good thing about this budget is that the country hasn't tanked immediately.
Being very harsh on the Conservatives, very harsh on the government. They're trying. They're going to sort it. What, they've only had 13 years? 13 years? They're, you know, give them a break.
Are we doing the COVID inquiry this week? Is that coming up later?
Maybe.
Oh, OK.
Yeah.
I'll keep my comment for that now.
You are right, though, that Jeremy Hunt referring to turbocharging growth was Liz Truss. Oh, my goodness.
It's all right, because no one remembers her.
No, you're right.
Liz who?
Liz Truss. She was a good Prime Minister, I tell you. A lot better than that other one.
Yeah.
Liz Dross?
Liz Dross.
Ironically, she was lacking support. It's a reference to Truss as well, lad. Thank you very much, thank you.
Liz Truss, difficult to get rid of, still kind of hanging around. Someone did try and get rid of Liz Truss, though. Do you know who?
Noel Edmonds.
It was Theresa May. So she tweeted a photograph of the surviving Prime Ministers in the Cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday. Here is the original picture. You can see Liz Truss there.
Oh, yeah.
And here is the tweet from Theresa May. There is someone on Twitter called Andre who decided to represent all of those Prime Ministers in that photograph proportionately, according to their time in office. Tony Blair, first off, been on the protein shakes. And as we go across there, you might not be able to pick out Liz Truss. She is a very thin sliver of light. between Sunak and Johnson. Someone on Twitter actually pointed out that if Liz Truss lives until she's 95 years old, then she'll have spent more days at the cenotaph than she did as Prime Minister. So, David Cameron, then?
He's back.
Yep.
Did you see him coming?
No. Nobody did, including David Cameron. He had no idea.
He looked stunned when he came out of the car.
Yeah, he was still wearing his tracksuit. He's back. He's Foreign Secretary.
Apparently this was all agreed with Rishi Sunak weeks ago in, and I quote, a backdoor arrangement, which I think is a public school thing. Not sure. But this is certainly surprised Chris Mason from the BBC.
God blimey, look at this.
I think he should have said a new bombshell has entered the villa. That would have been good.
Now, goodness knows, Cameron could do with a little bit of luxury in his life. He gets a mansion in Carlton Gardens, SW1, and a country house called Tsjeng in Kent, or, as the Sunday Times imagined Cameron contemplating it, the distinctly second-tier Tsjeng. Oh, dear, Kent. Ian and Paul, don't you live in Kent?
Yes, but not together. I have a shed at the end of his garden.
Which I've given him at a very reasonable rate. He pops in with a cup of tea occasionally.
All right, governor. And I say, Ian, you don't have to call me governor, that's fine.
How do you two feel about being looked down on by the likes of the Chipping Norton set?
I don't think they look down on Ian. They see him as a regular guy.
Well, the Chipping Norton set is Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, yes.
Rebecca Brooks,
Yes.
the distinguished executive of the Sun newspaper and the Murdoch group, who nearly went to jail but didn't because she's innocent. And don't let me hear anything to the contrary from you lot, left-wing subversives.
I'm quite prepared to say she's guilty. Not.
He said no.
You know what, though? I am quite sad about how this has all turned out, because a while ago I wished that there were more Asians in politics, and it turned out I made a wish on a monkey's paw. That didn't go so well. So...
Is that the saying? If you make a wish on a monkey's paw, it goes badly?
Yeah, no, the saying goes, if you make a wish on a monkey's paw, you get Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman.
Oh, right.
As part of the reshuffle, though, there was someone who was appointed to the Cabinet as a SOP to the right of the party. Who was that?
Esther McVeigh, who's on GB News. But you won't know that because nobody watches.
So to balance up a centrist politician, you have to get a right-wing headbanger in.
Yes.
Actually, it's not fair calling them headbangers. You have to get a right-wing spunk monkey in.
I've just got this vision of the monkey's paw.
Yeah.
That's in your head.
Yeah. You've discussed it yourself there.
Yeah.
Esther McVeigh, minister without portfolio.
Oh, right.
But lots of people are calling her the common sense czar.
Yes.
And she's going to be, apparently, rooting out wokery, which I'm pretty sure they did that last week on Gardener's World.
Oh, yes, you've got some nasty bit of wokery here, you have.
Who was that? Who spoke then?
OK, James Cleverly was accused by Labour's Yvette Cooper of calling the Rwanda deportation plan batshit crazy, and so, as a punishment, he's now been put in charge of it. What else did James Cleverly get caught saying?
Someone asked a question in the Commons, why has my constituency got these levels of poverty? And the voice came back, because it's a shithole. It appears to be him, but he's denied it and said it wasn't him and he wouldn't do that sort of thing.
Oh, but he has admitted to saying the word shit. He said, what
I
said was shit MP, which hole and MP, very close.
Same thing, pretty much.
Very close.
Shall we have a little look?
Yeah,
let's have a look.
Let's have a look.
Why are 34% of children in my constituency living in poverty?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, it's this government.
Jeremy Hunt looks like he heard it.
Actually, James Cleverly is at the top of the charts on the Conservative Home website.
Oh, I see.
OK. Do you want to have a look at the poll?
Yeah, go on
let's
then.
have a look at the poll.
Has he got it?
That's harsh on the Govemeister, isn't it?
Back on James Cleverly,
Yes.
he's actually been putting a brave face on things.
Yes.
Because he recently arranged for himself and David Cameron to show an eager young schoolboy around the sights of London for the day.
He's so diddy, isn't he? Look at him. Oh, bless his little heart.
Paul and Stephen, you take a look at this.
Ah, yes, this is the gentleman who's just been elected president of Argentina, whose nickname is El Loco. He sort of turned up at political rallies wielding chainsaws. There's a fan of his. There's a sort of election booth you couldn't possibly break into. So he's come into power in Argentina, and he's a bit of a, let's say, loose cannon.
He's going to...
Legalise the sale of human organs.
Yeah, we could learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
He's a tantric sex expert as well.
Is he? I've never had sex with a tantric, but I'm sure. He ejaculates once every 3 months, he says.
3 months,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that does last 6 weeks.
I think my favourite thing about him is
Yeah.
that he went to a medium to talk to his dead dog, and
Yes.
the dog told him to run for president.
Really?
Yeah.
Milei's biographer, Juan Luis Gonzalez, told The Times he's convinced that he can communicate with his dogs, that they can advise him in different areas. The dogs are a sort of cabinet for him. He bounces ideas off them.
I've seen worse cabinets. A couple of dead dogs had really livened this one up.
You were right, Stephen. He said he's going to get rid of restrictions on the sale of guns and human organs. Can't really see that being a problem.
He's out there. I mean, he's no Liz Truss, but he's out there.
Well, I mean, you know, because it's been illegal up to this point, you know, you'd have to go down dark alleyways and somebody come to, here, want to buy a couple of lungs? You know, so now you can do it out in the open.
They're my last two.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
What do people like about him? What is it?
He looks like a Wolverine is one of the things, they say.
Javier Milei makes great washing machines.
I mean, he's certainly got a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Here he is, before he was elected, promoting a book at a literary festival.
I've been to a few literary festivals in my time. And they're all like that.
They're all like that.
They're all like that.
Yeah, the leader of the second largest economy in South America.
So reassuring.
Yeah.
Soon to be the 4th largest economy.
Which surprising political figure has Milei expressed his admiration for?
No, Mrs. Thatcher,
Absolutely right.
which
Mrs.
goes
Thatcher.
down well in Argentina.
Also in international news, what did Joe Biden celebrate this week?
The first week he hasn't fallen over for a year. He confused Britney and Taylor Swift.
Oh, how
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Seriously.
I should just point out, Ian, that Brittany is not a holiday destination.
His birthday.
His birthday.
birthday, ah.
Now, of course, lots of Democrats are trying to avoid focusing on the fact that he's now 81, but not his social media team, because here he is with a cake.
It's like he's set fire to Donald Trump's hair.
This is the new president of Argentina, Javier Milei. According to The Times, he owns 4 dogs named after free market economists. Sadly, one of them was recently put down. Poor little Quasi. Javier Milei has a master's in economics and is also a tantric sex guru who says he ejaculates every 3 months.
Yeah.
So, like most government economic forecasts, he comes quarterly. And so to round 2, it's a new round, it's the equation of news.
Can I just point out at this point, I've got CSE grade 5 maths. You're
What I'm going to do,
Yeah.
I'm going to show you
Yeah.
some topical equations.
wasting your time with me.
It's your own time you're wasting, all
Sorry.
right?
We get paid by the hour.
Find X and tell me what story it relates to. Paul and Stephen, you are going first. Here is your equation of news. I want you to tell me what X is.
Oh, film Napoleon and Ridley Scott. Is this about the French saying that the film is a load of old rubbish?
Yes.
And it's not historically accurate?
That-
Ridley said, go boil your faces.
Yeah.
This is the news that Ridley Scott's new film, Napoleon, has been received by the French with a woof. They have said that the film epic about Napoleon Bonaparte is full of historical inaccuracies and inconsistencies. Anyone know what some of those claimed inaccuracies are?
But he lived in Milton Keynes.
Isn't there a scene where he fires a cannonball at the pyramids?
There is.
Yeah.
There absolutely is.
Thing is, as a fan of history,
Yeah.
I would like to say to Ridley that it is wrong to get the facts wrong. But as an actor looking for work, I'd like to say to Ridley... I know he's casting Gladiator 2 at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Ridley, I look really good in a leather skirt and sandals.
And you'll be prepared to wear it at the audition.
I'm wearing it now.
What is one hint that Ridley Scott might not share the view of some French historians when it comes to Napoleon?
Well, didn't he say to them, you weren't there?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. He did say
Which,
that.
again, is a good defence, but then I suppose he wasn't either.
No.
I mean, he's been around a long time, but...
I guess it also invalidates the whole of history when you think about it.
Didn't he say the French don't like the film, the French don't even like themselves?
They absolutely did. And he also addressed the French historians in an interview with The Times, saying, "Excuse me, mate, were you there?" Adding, "No? Well, shut the fuck up then."
Say what you like about Ridley Scott, but he knows how to give a quote.
This is Ridley Scott's Napoleon film, which has been criticised for its historical discrepancies. Some scholars have even argued that such is Ridley Scott's disregard for historical facts that when it comes to Waterloo, the ABBA version is more accurate. All right, here is your equation of news, Ian and Zing. I want you to find X and tell me what story it relates to.
This is the COVID inquiry about parties, and it's all Boris Johnson's fault.
Absolutely right. Evidence from the COVID inquiry that suggests that Boris Johnson isn't quite as smart as we all thought he was.
Shocker.
And what did Boris struggle with during the pandemic?
Everything.
Fidelity.
Graphs.
Graphs, absolutely right.
They're big, tall animals that chew on trees.
Boris Johnson struggled with the shape of an exponential curve, but recreated it 18 months later with some of his government's ministerial resignations. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
Just important for me to say that's still not an exponential curve. But, hey, why let mathematical facts get in the way of a good joke? Right.
Well, you weren't there. Boris kept referring to graphs that looked like sombreros. He really liked that.
Should have gone to Napoleon's hat.
It's a bell curve, isn't it? Or bell end.
How did Patrick Vallance...
Sorry. You whisper these remarks, but they're all picked up on the microphone.
What did Vallance say that Boris Johnson could only hold on to for a bit and then it goes?
Relationships.
It's information. Information, apparently.
So are we coming on to Rishi Sunak and his eat out to help out? Or as it was known at the time, show up and throw up?
There is one example of Johnson's struggles with science, though, because he found the difference between absolute and relative risk almost impossible to understand. So, Paul, do you know the difference between absolute and relative risk?
Yes, I do. The absolute risk is that you sort of wonder who's coming around to your Christmas party, and then the relative risk is they turn up.
How did Patrick Vallance throw fellow scientist and lectern enthusiast Chris Whitty under the bus?
Very politely.
That's pretty spicy. For the science world, I think this is pretty spicy, yeah. It says, the former chief scientific advisor said that Chris Whitty was too slow on the first lockdown and described him as a delayer.
Oh, no. Oh, why? How can you put that on our screen?
You know what, honestly. OK, well, given that Vallance had cussed out Whitty, what did Whitty say in return?
He's a fuckwit.
He just said, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, there they are.
So, this is the COVID inquiry which heard the shocking revelation that science wasn't Boris Johnson's forte. Sir Chris Whitty told the inquiry that in the early days of COVID, mistakes were made at the Cheltenham Festival. Specifically, that he put 20 quid on Lucky Boy in the 230. OK, one last equation of news. This one is up for grabs for all of you. Find X, tell me what story it relates to.
Oh, yeah, I know this. It's a bag of tools that was dropped from the space station, is circling the Earth. Apparently, you could see it this week. If the sun was catching it in the right direction, you could see the tool bag going across the sky. I wouldn't make up something like that.
The Telegraph reports that the next chance for Brits to go and see it should be on Friday evening. So what are you guys waiting for?
Builders everywhere going, oh, I can't finish it. Tool bags in space orbiting the Earth.
Do you want to see the moment when it fell from their grasp?
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah.
I saw it before, but just see it again.
There it is.
There he goes.
Oh, shit, he's gone, look.
One tool slip for man. That's
One tool slip. Is that so they can put there are no tools stored in this space station over there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's time now for the odd one out round. Only one between you this week. So your four are Davina McCall, Ian Duncan-Smith, Alex James and Noel Edmonds.
They're all back.
That makes them the odd one out, does it?
They're all back.
They're all back.
They're all back except Ian Duncan-Smith.
No.
Alex James makes cheese.
Makes cheese.
Davina McCall likes cheese.
Likes cheese.
Noel Edmonds is made of cheese.
Yeah. It's pure Edam.
This is pure Edam.
OK, you are not on the right track.
Oh.
Shall I give you a clue?
Yeah, go on, then you might
Is
as
it
well.
falling out
I'll
with
give you-
neighbours? Because he...
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Falling out with neighbours.
Noel Edmonds has moved to New Zealand and
Yeah.
is being slightly tetchy with his neighbours. Davina McCall lives in Guernsey and has murdered everybody on the
You better tell us.
OK, all right. All of them
Yeah.
have upset people from other countries, apart from Davina McCall, who's upset with herself for inflicting Donald Trump on the US. She claims that her stint as the host of Big Brother led to the explosion of reality TV shows that thrust people like Donald Trump into the limelight.
Davina, if you're listening, it's not your fault.
On the other hand, I think it is.
Yeah. That's the BBC, it's balance, you see, you get both sides.
How else does Davina centralise herself in the narrative of world history?
She started the First World War by murdering Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah. He was the first one voted out of the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
No, she does at least accept responsibility for this.
Now, would you like me to be the cat?
That's yummy. Delicious.
Why have you shown us that?
I had to watch that 4 times today in the
you?
rehearsals. Oh, man.
Where you get your kicks has got nothing to do with me.
How did Blur bassist and cheese magnate Alex James upset another country?
He said that cheese was bad.
Ooh. He tipped off the French by claiming that brie was actually invented in Ireland and that champagne was actually developed in Somerset.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's done too many drugs.
Oh.
Or not enough. Balance.
Who's Ian Duncan-Smith upset, though?
I mean, lately?
It's a country, remember.
Oh, a country, all right, yeah.
Oh, China.
China, perfect. He has upset China. He has called for their exclusion at international summits, including Rishi Sunak's recent AI gathering. According to Ian Duncan-Smith, China are dominant in the world of AI. They are world leaders in deep fake video manipulation, which can alter footage in real time. And the Chinese Communist Party is brilliant. It really is, and they're great guys as well. Right, what country has Noel Edmonds caused trouble in?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Right, absolutely
Yeah.
right. He spent over £14 million buying up properties in order to create his own village, which, do you know what he's calling it?
Crinkly Bottom.
If only. It's called River Haven.
Oh,
Should be Crinkly Bottom, though, I entirely agree. Who has Noel fallen out with, then?
yeah, with the council, the local council. Yeah.
They wanted to put a bike track through a corner of his land to avoid a motorway, to which Noel Edmonds reasonably responded, "You need your heads cutting off and your brains replaced." Would you like to see an image here of Crinkly Bottom?
Yes.
Please.
Yes, please, yes.
Why are you showing us this?
OK, time now for the missing words round. So we're going to start with, woman says she can't drive to work because what is stopping her?
Oh, I know this one. It's a 600-kilo seal.
It is. It is a 600 kilo seal.
Well, that...
Here is a picture of Neil the seal after breaking into the property in Tasmania. And to add insult to injury, when she tried and failed to manoeuvre past him, he just started clapping. Next up...
Clearly he's not in a way, because between the car and the brick wall lies the seal.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
It's absolute bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Or is it all true? Bullshit or true? Bullshit or true?
Next, bucket list for Brits over 50 includes what and what?
Getting better at bridge and tennis.
Getting a GP appointment.
It's actually a bucket list for Brits over 50 includes cuddling a tiger and taking part in an orgy.
Oh! You can mix the two up, you know. Whipsnade Friday night. Ask for the man in the striped pyjamas. Oh, now I see why they call you a man-eater.
And finally, scientific research claims what are the best lovers?
Scientists. Done it again. That is right.
It absolutely is right.
Even better.
This research was extensively peer-reviewed towards the end of last year's NASA Christmas party. And so, the final scores are Ian and Zing have 4, Paul and Stephen have 7.
Oh, well done. And you got them all right.
But before we go, there is just time for the caption competition. Ian and Zing, you have this.
I'm afraid I left the tool bag in space.
OK, it's a deal. 30 quid for the chair.
And Paul and Stephen get that.
Well, the doctor on the right is saying, well, the good news is there's nothing wrong with your teeth.
Is the man saying, did you eat the rest of my beard?
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Zing Zing, Paul Merton and Stephen Mangan, and I leave you with the news that, in Georgia, Donald Trump's campaign team deny claims that they have dumbed down his slogan for his most avid supporters. In the early hours of a Soho dawn, there is a slight awkwardness following an adult game, as it appears the keys to the handcuffs have gone missing. And in Westminster, one local resident hurriedly looks to relocate after hearing the worrying news that David Cameron is back in town. Good night.
From energy to migration, dive into the latest talking points with the newscast team on BBC Sounds. And on BBC One next, the perfect Friday night sitcom. Settle in and get to know the neighbours 2 doors down.
I'll complain about the pig Cameron joke. It just isn't true.
No.
I mean, there's a lot to go for Cameron over. He didn't fuck pigs, he screwed the whole country.
And that's the bit they'll use after the credits.